Hi, I'm Naomi May. I'm a fashion editor, and we're here today with the SATCoL podcast, The Sustainable Conversation. Joining us, we have fashion project manager at the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, Miranda Beckett, and Nicole Morarescu, environment and sustainability coordinator at SATCoL. Guys, welcome to the Sustainable Conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Great to be here.
Thank you for being here. Miranda, I want to start with you. Can you explain exactly what your job entails?
So I work for the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, where our mission is to accelerate the transition to the circular economy. And that means that, so we live in a linear system at the moment. So in fashion, we have a take, make, waste system. So we take products, some materials from the earth, we make products with them, and then at the end of life, we waste them. They go into a landfill or they're incinerated. And in my role, we aim to create a circular economy for fashion. So that means that clothes they're used more, they're made to be made again, so they can be disassembled, they can be recycled at end of life, and they're made from safe and renewable or recycled materials. So thinking about, any toxins that are created in the sort of production of those clothing. Specifically, I work on a project called the Fashion Remodel, which is all about scaling up circular business models. So that's rental, repair, resale and remaking. And we're working with brands to scale these circular business models and make them the norm.
The circular economy we were just talking before we started filming is so interesting. We're going to get onto that a little bit later. But sustainability as a topic can be really overwhelming. How do we make sure that we engage everybody in it?
Yeah, I think it can mean so many different things to so many different people. And I think there's so many things that you can do as an individual, small things that actually over time create a huge impact. So an example might be just, making sure that you take your reusable cup when you go out and making sure that you don't use paper cups all the time. Or it might be thinking about, do you buy your clothes differently? So could you buy second-hand clothing instead of buying new instead? And I think at SATCoL we have a number of different ways that people can get involved, particularly around when people no longer want their products. They can donate their clothing to us or other items as well. So we have three ways that we can do this. First of all, through our donation banks. So you might have seen a lot of our banks in supermarket car parks. We have around 8,000 across the UK. And we also have about 250 charity shops, so really convenient and easy way for customers just to drop off their clothing or other unwanted items. And thirdly, we also have our online take-back scheme, so you can register your donations online and you can send those donations to us via the post. So it's so easy and so quick, and I think at SATCoL we make sure that we have those convenient options for customers to get involved from a sustainability perspective, particularly when they no longer want their items.
I think the convenience is really key, isn't it? Also, I'm obsessed with the in-post lockers. I have one at the end of my street. They're amazing. And Miranda, can you explain the concept of the circular economy to me?
Absolutely. So in the circular economy, we look to eliminate waste and pollution. We circulate products and materials once they've been made. So thinking about circular business models through rental, repair, resale. And then we also look to regenerate nature in the way that we produce those materials. And this is all by design, so it's intentional. And the way that an analogy that we think of using is that of nature. So there is no waste in nature. If a leaf falls from a tree, it falls on the ground and it's not incinerated, it's not going to landfill. It decomposes and it brings energy back into the system. So we're trying to create a circular economy in fashion where there's no lost value through waste. So we're using products for longer through things like rental, repair, resale, remaking. We are designing them so that they can be disassembled, or for end of life they can be recycled. And then they're also made from safe and recycled or renewable inputs.
And the circular economy is really booming, isn't it? So that says to me that people really want to engage with this conversation.
Exactly, yeah. I think it's, when I first learned about it, I was like, this just makes sense. And a lot of the concepts that we talk about, they aren't necessarily new. They are going back to how we used to operate years ago. So if you think about the fashion industry, 70 years ago, people were going to their local tailors, there was lots of resale. It was a very different way of operating. So it's trying to introduce some of that, more of that back, and thinking about how we can make things like circular business models the norm again today.
And Nicole, what's the future of sustainability?
So at SATCoL, we collect over 250 million items a year, and our priority is always to reuse as many items as possible. But there does get to a point where we have products that we can't reuse because they're non-rewearable. So we've invested in some world first technology to recycle clothing as well. So in the East Midlands we have 2 facilities. The first one has our fibre sort technology. So this is a technology that can analyse the fibre content and the colour of the products that we collect. We can then determine which end route, how they can be recycled based on that data and that information. And we also have a polyester recycling facility at our other site. So anything that's 100% polyester that we can't reuse, we will recycle that and turn it into new textiles. So the old textiles, they get melted, they get shredded, and they get turned into new pellets, which can go into new products and hopefully new clothing as well.
Very exciting. And Miranda, what are some things that the fashion industry could do to be more conscious?
The way that we think about fashion industry action is there's 3 pivotal drivers that need to be addressed. There's the design side, so circular design, thinking about how do we make our products? Are they being designed to be disassembled at end of life? What materials are we making them from? Are they mono-material, so are they out of one material that can be recycled, or are they multi-material? Then we also think about the end of life, so setting up the infrastructure and investing in the infrastructure to be able to recycle clothes when they're no longer able to be used. And then in the middle, we've got how customers actually use their clothes and interact with the brand. So things like circular business models, like rental, repair, resale, and remaking. With the fashion remodel, which is a project I'm working on at the moment, brands have set a revenue-based ambition to have an overall percentage of their revenue from circular business models, which is the first time that organisations have done this, which is really exciting.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's very exciting, but there's loads of barriers to be overcome. So things like creating the financial business case, proving the climate and nature impact evidence, and also creating the enabling policy conditions for those circular business models to thrive. So things like EPR, extended producer responsibility, where there is a fee on items of clothing which would get collected in a pot, which would enable recycling facilities to be invested in, which could also be invested in other circular business models. Infrastructure is really critical to enabling these to thrive. There's also a whole suite of other policy mixes that could be useful to help circular business models become on a par with the linear model, like taxing raw materials instead of labour. So there's a whole suite of options that governments should be looking to provide to try and enable these business models to be able to work, really.
And EPRs too.
Yeah, EPR is critical to that.
What about you, Nicole?
I think, following on from what Miranda said around circular design, I think that's also really, really important for us as a textile collector and recycler. There are lots of garments that we can't recycle because of the fibres that they're made from or the trims that they contain. So I think starting off with that, the manufacturing, thinking about the design of that product is really important when it also comes to recyclability. But durability is a key part of that. We know we want to keep products in use for longer. So durability and recyclability, I think, are really key when we talk about what brands could do in the fashion supply chain. We also offer a number of different solutions for our corporate partners. So if you've got excess stock or lots of returns or faulty products, we have the solutions to manage those products. So reach out, get in touch with our corporate partnerships team. I'm sure we have solutions to support.
And Nicole, there's a very human aspect to all of this too, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely. And SATCoL is actually the trading arm of the Salvation Army. So the profits that we raise go to the charity to support vulnerable people across the country. And over the last 12 years, we've raised over £100 million to support the charity.
That's incredible. Nicole, Miranda, thank you so much for joining us on this Sustainable Conversation today.
Thank you so much.